with our good friend Brian, KTBFFH Hadad. Okay. Decode that for us there, Brian. Brian's the co-host of SportsTalk Mississippi, of course.
Rhino's having a little fun with me. He's having a little fun about my soccer fandom, but they won, so we can talk about that all you want, but yeah, it's soccer related, Gerard. I know you could not care less.
Okay, you soccer guys. It's a communist game. The communists dropped that soccer ball over here a long time ago.
Except communists aren't very good at the sport.
They're very bad at it.
Actually, you're right about that.
Yeah.
All right, Brian, Puntgate. I don't know what else to call it.
Oh, God. Everything gets a gate. Yeah.
What in the world was that all about?
Well, and I said the same thing with Mr. Gallo earlier this morning, that I know you talk about incompetent officials all the time, but they're usually elected. I mean, we're talking about something totally different. I didn't vote for any of these guys. Yeah, Gerard, I mean, you know it. You've seen it. You've gone to enough Ole Miss games in your time that if the officiating in the SEC is just bad. It's bad top to bottom. It's bad year in and year out. And for an organization that makes the kind of money that the Southeastern Conference does, the idea that they can't do any better is kind of disheartening. I mean, every season we see these games get decided by poor officiating. It happened to Ole Miss a season ago against Auburn. It happened to Arkansas a season ago against Auburn. And now it happened to Mississippi State on Saturday. You know, and if you want to make the comment that State shouldn't be in that position, they should dominate a team like Memphis, that's fine. I can agree with that. But at the end of the day, if that play doesn't happen, the game is totally different. And it cost Mississippi State a win, and it may cost Mississippi State a bowl bid, and it may cost, I mean, that's costing real dollars. Yeah. Real dollars that the state loses, that the Southeastern Conference loses, because people can't do their jobs.
You know, how did we get here? It's not. Is there a shortage of competent, quality referees that want to call SEC football?
We got an employment shortage all over this country. Gerard, I hear you talking about it every day. I guess they're the same play. When you consider these guys, this isn't their full-time job. They're just doing this
You're right.
on the side, but they're making good money.
Yep, they are.
You know, you would think that either A, there would be a stricter standard, a higher standard to hold people to, or B, this is the SEC. They're making $1 billion a year. They really can't afford to have some full-time officials. I find that hard to believe.
Agree.
So, I don't know what the answer is. You know, if Greg Sankey wants to give me his job, I'll figure out the answer. But what I do know is what is happening. It's not just a state. Look at the Auburn-Penn State game.
Yep.
You have a team has to punt on third down because everybody loses track of the downs. How does that happen? It feels like that's pretty easy. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can do it.
Well, they've got these digital down markers now. You know what? I say I don't. You know, here's what. Maybe you and I can agree on. Not that we don't agree on a lot of stuff, but
we agree on
quite a bit. Yeah, but what is just kind of sticks in the top of my head is what's caused it to get worse. The model hasn't changed. Why is it worse? You don't think it is, huh?
I don't know that it's worse in that.
Okay.
You go back 30, 40 years, and there were 5 games on television.
Yeah.
And there wasn't social media that would clip out, look at this terrible call, and then everybody got to look at it. My guess is these guys have been terrible at their jobs since the beginning of time. Bear Bryant and Johnny Vaught and Emory Bellard were all complaining about this stuff, but we just didn't have any access to it.
That's a good point.
They're just not. I mean, just not good. This guy, the guy who called his crew from yesterday, he's been officiating games for 20-plus years.
Yeah.
And yet they're still making – this is elementary mistakes they're making.
Yeah. I think that's what is bothersome is we're not talking about really difficult, quick judgment calls such as a pass interference or a holding or stuff like that just happens often in such a split second, and you got to make a judgment right there. Was that what I think it was or not, and throw a flag? This is and a lot of times those calls are kind of in the action, where a lot of folks are. You got to be on the field to have that view. And this wasn't that.
No, and the other thing that bothers me, and probably what bothers me the most, is the back judge throws the beanbag, waves his arms, stomps his foot like this is where the ball's going to be spotted. He knows that he's blowing the play dead there.
Yep.
He knows that he is. And when they call the touchdown, he doesn't have, I mean, you know the word I want to use.
Yeah,
to go and say, look, I messed up. I inadvertently spotted the ball. I was waving the play dead. But unfortunately, that's we're going to have to take the touchdown off the board.
Now,
because that's the correct call. That's the correct call.
Agree.
But
and is that something that could be reviewed and reversed?
Yes.
Why
every
didn't that
scoring play. That's what a great question. This is why you're the best.
Oh yeah.
That's why you're the top interviewer in the state.
Yeah.
Because I have no idea. Every scoring play is reviewed.
That's what I thought.
Every one.
Yeah.
And yet nobody in the booth saw, wait a minute, the SEC admitted it. They sent out a statement. I love the statement, by the way. It's not an apology. It's not we screwed up and we're sorry. It's just we screwed up. Here's how we screwed up. Can't do anything for you, but we know that we screwed up. Not even a promise to do better next time.
I read that statement and felt like this had to emanate from the Capitol in Washington. I mean, that's what it looked like to me.
Any politician could have wrote that
statement. It looked like politics. It's like, what?
It looked like from the White House counsel. That's what that statement came from. And I don't even care who the president is. Just there it is,
I agree.
We screwed up.
I agree. All right, so what about my alma mater? Did you watch any of that? The Rainbow?
I did tune into that. You know what? You know it pains me, right? You know this pains me. They're pretty good, Gerard.
They're pretty good. I'm almost afraid to say. I went to play golf yesterday, and all my state buddies saying, they look pretty good. I said, I'm afraid to say anything, honestly.
I'm just going to go ahead and tell you all next week, I'm going to jinx y'all so bad. I'm going to talk about how bad y'all are going to beat Alabama. I'm going to start on Monday.
How you do it.
Just the whole way. Be like, oh, no way Ole Miss loses to Alabama.
That's what we call the reverse hopper.
But they could very well beat them. They could very well beat them. That's a good Ole Miss team. Kiffin's got them rolling. Corral is playing great. They got a lot of talent. And defensively, they're just better. I don't know if they're good defensively, but they're better, and that's all they really had to be.
Well, the last couple of years, it was so frustrating as a fan to know that, well, I hope the safety tackles them on that run up the middle from the 20.
Safeties were racking up tackles in that defense last year.
You're not doing well on defense when the DBs have most of the tackles. I mean, we couldn't hold a line of scrimmage.
I always say that if your safety is the leading tackler on the team, you got a problem.
Well, we did and have, but that's not the case this year. In fact, if I listen to the stats right post-game, Tulane 1 for 11 in the third down category. I believe that's the stats I heard Richard deliver, as a matter of fact. So in the post game,
that's a great stat. That's great for defense. Yeah, if you're getting off the field, and then on the other side of the ball, I think on the year Ole Miss has not converted a fourth down they've gone for. They're 100%.
They're 100%.
So if you're getting off the field on defense and you're staying on the field on offense, it's hard not to win.
The Ole Miss punter's a Maytag repairman. It's the loneliest guy in town. I'm telling you. You don't get to punt. They clap
don't hate
when
on Matt Brown like that. Everybody loves Matt Brown.
Matt's a good guy. They all like him, right? But he doesn't have to punt very often. It's just, that's Kiffin's style. And that's his probability approach to playing the game.
It's smart, though. It's smart.
Well, when you got an offense that I don't know how they figure out what the heck to run when it's 4th and 5. They got so many plays to choose from that are in that 5-yard range. You know what I mean?
I just hand the ball to Jerrion Ely and say, just give me the first down. That's how I would do it.
He's pretty salty out of the backfield catching passes too, isn't he? Yeah.
Good player. Yeah.
That was big. So. I'm cautiously optimistic. Now, when you go over there to Tuscaloosa, that's a hard place to play. But this team seems to, I think, be playing together and not be worried about that. Anyhow, and you got LSU coming to Starkville this Saturday, right?
Yeah, great. See how that goes.
And I'll be up there Friday again doing a remote. My
That's
state
right.
buddies.
We got a remote. And then our show is doing one as well. So
Yeah.
should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, sure should. Brian, appreciate you joining us today, man. We'll talk soon.
Anytime, Gerard.
See ya.
Appreciate it.
We'll be right back on